Hi friends, welcome to the session again. Here is your friend and mentor for CA Final Audit paper number 3, Advanced Auditing and Professional Ethics, right? So we are into our lecture number 3 now, and if I'm not wrong, I think all of you have studied the lecture number 1 and lecture number 2, which were the demo lectures for the classes. And in the lecture number 1, if I'm not wrong, we have completed section number 139, right? Section number 139 में what we understood was 139 subsection 7, subsection 5, subsection 6 and subsection 1, which was nothing but talking about what appointment of an auditor. Later on followed by we did section number 139.2, which talks about rotation of an auditor. Then we did section number 139 subsection 8, which talks about casual vacancy in the lecture number 2, right? So if you have any doubts or queries, you can please send your queries to the below mentioned numbers and my personal contact number as well, which will be shared to you when you will buy the classes, right? Okay, so section number 139.2, which talks about rotation of an auditor, and we also did the section number 139.8, which talks about subsection 8, which talks about casual vacancy in the both companies, government company as well as non-government companies, right? Now, after that, if you remember, we have done some two small sections relating to series 140 also. Section 140 series में there are total these many sections, right? So what is the today's topic? So if I'm not wrong, these two sections we have already covered in section number 139 subsection 8 when we were talking about what? When we were talking about casual vacancy, right? Now, today what we have to cover is section number 140 subsection 1, subsection 4 and section number 140 subsection 5, subsection 6 and subsection 7, which talks about removal of an auditor by the tribunal, right? So, sir, where we have covered section number 140, subsection 2 and subsection 3, we have already covered these two sections when we talked about the casual vacancy. So, in the casual vacancy, we have learned that if the auditor is leaving an organization due to the reason called resignation, then it is his responsibility to intimate his reasons of resignation to whom? To the ROC and company in case of non-government company cases, and to the CLAG in case of what? Government company. Within how many days? Within 30 days. In form number ADT 3. Right or not? तो हमने ये सब कर लिया था. Now the next thing what we have understood in section number 140 subsection 3 was कि what was the penalty in case you are unable to intimate the reasons of resignation. Then the penalty was, we all remember the penalty was 50,000 rupees to be compared with the remuneration received, and per day default penalty is also there, that is called section number penalty amount was 500 rupees per day, and the total penalty is subject to the maximum of 5 lakhs. So what was the total penalty? 50,000 rupees or remuneration received, whichever is lower, and per day penalty of 500 rupees subject to the maximum of 5 lakh rupees, right? So let's move to the next section. So today what we are going to start, we are going to start with section number 140 subsection 1 and 140 subsection 4. Put together two subsections will do. Sir, what we are going to understand? We are going to understand removal of an auditor. We are going to understand removal of an auditor by members. Removal of an auditor by members. So remember one thing, guys, before doing anything, just remember one thing. There are only two people who can remove you from being an auditor before the expiry of your term. So when we talk about the removal, automatically one impression should come to your mind that we are removing an auditor before the expiry of his term. Now you all know under section 139 subsection 2 rotation में what is the term of each sole proprietor auditor? It is a one term of 5 years each. And what is the term for partnership firm or LLP? It is the 2 terms of 5 years each, right? Now if you are removing an auditor before the expiry of his term, that is before the completion of 5 years or before the completion of 10 years, then what you will happen, you have to follow the process to remove an auditor, which is given under section number 140 subsection 1 and 140 subsection 4. I hope everyone is crystal clear, right? So let us understand one fact, that when we talk about the removal, there are only two people who can remove you. There are only two people who can remove you. One is known as the members, who are the owners of the company, and the another one is known as NCLT. या तो आपको NCLT रिमूव कर सकता है बिफोर द एक्सपायरी ऑफ द टर्म, या मेंबर्स रिमूव कर सकते हैं बिफोर द एक्सपायरी ऑफ द टर्म. इन दोनों के अलावा कोई भी तुम्हें रिमूव नहीं कर सकता. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दीज टू पीपल कॉल्ड मेंबर्स ऑफ द कंपनी एंड NCLT, नो वन कैन रिमूव यू फ्रॉम बीइंग एन ऑडिटर बिफोर द एक्सपायरी ऑफ योर टर्म. ठीक है, तो अपने लेक्चर्स थोड़े बहुत कंप्लीटली इंग्लिश में, दीज आर गोइंग टू बी कंप्लीटली इन इंग्लिश, बट इन बिटवीन इफ द person who wants to take these lectures in Hindi also, anyways I am going to come up with the Hindi lectures also for the paper number 3, completely Hindi lectures for the paper number 3, advanced auditing and professional ethics. But I think you can cope up with these lectures also, क्योंकि यहाँ पे भी मैं थोड़ी थोड़ी हिंदी में I'll be able to tell you each and everything, right? So let us move ahead. So who are the two people who can remove you? Either the member can remove you before the expiry of the term, or NCLT. NCLT full form नेशनल कंपनी लॉ ट्रिब्यूनल. तो या तो ट्रिब्यूनल आपको रिमूव कर सकता है या मेंबर्स रिमूव कर सकते हैं. बट सेक्शन नंबर 140 सबसेक्शन 1 एंड सेक्शन नंबर 140 सबसेक्शन 4 टॉक्स अबाउट रिमूवल बाय होम, रिमूवल बाय मेंबर्स. तो वी आर गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड नाउ रिमूवल बाय मेंबर्स, देन वी विल अंडरस्टैंड रिमूवल बाय द ट्रिब्यूनल. ठीक है सर, सो लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड विदाउट वेस्टिंग द टाइम. नाउ देयर इज अ कंप्लीट प्रोसेस, देयर इज वन प्रोसेस of removal. So I am going to divide that process into two parts. So I will tell you the detailed process later on, ki what happens when we are removing an auditor, and overall process I am going to tell you first, and after that later on we'll come into the detailed process. So what is the overall process of removal? What is the overall process of removal? Now remember one thing. Now what will happen? Point number 1. Now board of directors or audit committee, first of all you have to understand the section called 177 first, that is called audit committee. And I think that you have already completed section number 177 when you were in CA intermediate, because you had that section in your inter law also, you had that section in your CA inter audit also, right? What is section number 177? Section number 177 talks about which committee? Audit committee. Now what the audit committee basically does is, audit committee as per section number 177 is always keeping an eye, it is always keeping an eye over the performance, objectivity and independence of an internal auditor as well as what? External auditor. So let me tell you one thing, overview दे देता हूँ. Section number 177 talks about what? Audit committee. Audit committee क्या करती है? What is the role of audit committee? One of the role, one of the function of the audit committee is they are always watching whom? Internal auditor as well as what? External auditor. What they are watching? They are watching their performance, they are watching their objectivity, means impartial and unbiased attitude throughout the audit, and they are also watching their independence. He should remain independent throughout the audit. Now what will happen? Now when the audit committee feels that, when the audit committee feels that, or if the audit committee is not there as per section number 177, then board of director will come into the place. Remember one thing, audit committee will evaluate the performance and independence and objectivity of whom? Performance, independence and objectivity of everyone. If the audit committee is not constituted, then board of directors will take care of the same thing. I hope everyone is crystal clear now, right? Now what I'm trying to tell you is, ensure that first audit committee will check your performance, and then who will check your performance? Board of directors if the audit committee is not there. Now sir, what they are doing, audit committee is going to evaluate the performance and what is the objectivity and independence. If they feel that particular external auditor, particular external or statutory auditor, if they feel that their statutory auditor or external auditor is not performing well, they will intimate that thing, they will intimate the same thing to their shareholders, they will intimate the same thing to their members, right or not? What they will intimate? Ki our existing auditor is not performing well as per the standards, is not performing well as per the expectations of the company, so we should remove that auditor from being an existing auditor of the company and will bring someone else. So they will inform, they will recommend that to the members. Sir, why they will recommend that to the members? Because members are not sitting in the company. Who is sitting in the company? Board of directors. Who is sitting in the company? The members of the audit committee. They are evaluating the performance and independence of an auditor. That's why no one will come to know about whether the auditor is performing well or no, other than these two people. So if they think that, if they understand that a particular auditor is not performing well, so they are going to intimate it to the shareholders and members. Now, point number 2. So what the shareholders and members will do? The members will send special notice. The members will send special notice to the company. Members क्या करेंगे? Members will send one special notice to the company. Sir, what will be written in that special notice? In the special notice, they might be writing the two things. What are the one thing? Remove existing auditor. What is the first thing they will write? Remove existing auditor. So they are giving the proposal to the company, their assent to the company to remove an auditor, remove the existing auditor. And what is the second thing? Replace existing auditor with another auditor. Replace existing auditor with which auditor? Another auditor. So sir, step number 2 क्या है? Members are going to send special notice to the company. Now, why it is called special notice? You have to mention that. You have to mention it as a special notice. Remember that members are participating. Members are doing. Now, general things in the company are done by whom? Board of directors and KMPs of the company. But this is a special case of removing an auditor which board of directors and KMPs can't do. That's why they have to take the help of whom? Members. So members must send special notice to the company telling them that remove the existing auditor or replace the existing auditor with someone else. Are you getting the point? Now the question arises, sir, do they have to give the reasons? Do they have to give the reason? Answer is no. It is optional. It is optional for members. It is optional for members to give reasons or not. Are you getting the point? Members के ऊपर कोई भी compulsion नहीं है. No one can force the members to give the reason why they want to remove an auditor. It is optional for the members to remove the auditor. Whether they want to give the reasons or not, that is optional on them. What are the reasons for the removal? I hope everyone is clear. So first of all, again understanding. First of all, audit committee or board of director, if they feel that the auditor is not performing well, they will intimate or give the significance of this particular issue to the member. Members will do what? Members will send which notice? Special notice to the company. And company in the special notice, what will be written? Either remove the existing auditor or replace the existing auditor with somebody else. Reasons is compulsory or optional? Optional for the members. If they want, they can give the reasons. If they don't want, no one can force them to give the reasons. Complete? Okay. Step number 3. Company received what? Company received a special notice. Am I correct or no? Now company received a special notice. Now after receiving special notice, what the company needs to do after receiving the special notice, within 30 days of receiving the special notice, company must conduct a board meeting and pass a which resolution? Board resolution. Within 30 days, what the company has to do? Now listen, within these 30 days, what the company has to do? First conduct a board meeting and pass a which resolution? Board resolution. And second thing what they have to do within these 30 days, apply to the central government. Sir, removing a statutory auditor is not a simple task. It is not like a fly in your tea. ये मक्खी नहीं है जो तुम्हारी चाय में गिरी, तुमने चाय से मक्खी निकाल कर फेंक दी. Are you getting the point? Removal of an auditor before the expiry of the term is a very difficult task. There are so many procedural things you need to do. One of the procedural thing is you need to take a prior permission of whom? So company has to apply to the central government for what? For prior permission. Company has to apply to the central government for prior permission for removal of auditor. Prior permission of removal of an auditor in form number ADT2. What is the form number? AD2. Permission को apply कैसे करना है? In form number AD2. Now point number 1. Do you remember ADT1? Where was ADT1? It was the intimation of the appointment to the ROC in form number ADT1 within 15 days of AGM. Right or not? Where we have done ADT3, the intimating the reasons of the resignation. Right or not? Within 30 days from the date of resignation. ADT3 casual vacancy section number 139 subsection 8. And what is ADT2? ADT2 kya tha? ADT2 is nothing but applying to the central government for the prior approval of. For the prior approval, why do we need the prior approval? We need the prior approval for removing an auditor before the expiry of his term. So first board meeting will be conducted, board resolution will be passed. Then prior approval of the central government is required in form number ADT2. Now, point number 4, once the approval of central government is obtained, once the approval of central government is obtained, then what will happen? Within 60 days from that day, within how many days? Within 60 days from the date you got the approval from central government in ADT2, within 60 days, company must conduct an EGM. Company क्या conduct करेगी? Extraordinary general body meeting conduct करेगी. ठीक है, तो कंपनी क्या कंडक्ट करेगी? एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी जनरल बॉडी मीटिंग कंडक्ट करेगी. कब करेगी? विदिन 60 डेज. व्हेन इट इज गोइंग टू बी कंडक्टेड? विदिन 60 डेज फ्रॉम द डेट वी हैव रिसीव्ड द रिमूवल परमिशन फ्रॉम द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इन फॉर्म नंबर ADT2. क्लियर? तो 30 डेज के अंदर अंदर वी हैव टू डू द बोर्ड मीटिंग एंड अप्लाई टू द अप्रूवल. द डे व्हेन वी विल गेट द अप्रूवल, who will give the approval? Central government. To whom? Company. The day when we got the approval, within the next 60 days, you have to conduct which meeting? Extraordinary general meeting. I hope everyone is clear. Right or not? Extraordinary general body meeting. And extraordinary general body meeting में always which resolution? Special resolution will be passed. Special resolution will be passed. And what is this special resolution will be passed? Special resolution will be passed for removal of an auditor. For removal of an auditor. Everyone clear or not? This is called the broader scenario, broader process how to remove an auditor before the expiry of the term. Clear? Now see, let us revise it again. So tell me one thing, how it was starting? ये start कैसे हुआ? Let's do the summary. How it was started? Starting point was what? Audit committee of board of directors, if they feel that the auditor is not performing well, they will inform it to whom? Members. So our starting point was members, because what is the section we are doing? 140 subsection 1 and 140 subsection 4. It means removal of auditor before the expiry of the term by the members. So starting point is members. So what the members are doing? Members are sending the special notice to whom? To the company. Members are sending the special notice to whom? To the company. Now company is doing what? Within 30 days. Within how many days? 30 days. Company needs to do two things. Board meeting, board resolution they have to pass, and prior approval to the central government in form number ADT2. You have to apply for the prior approval. Okay. Approval came. Approval got. We got the approval. Then what we'll do? From the approval within the next how many days? 60 days. What will happen? Within the next 60 days, EGM will be conducted. What meeting will be conducted? EGM will be conducted. And in the EGM, which resolution? Special resolution will be passed. And special resolution will be passed. And auditor stands what? Removed. This is called the broader concept, how the auditor is removed by the members. This is called section number 140, subsection 1, which is written in the law. Are you getting the point? Now, we have to understand now what is a detailed procedure. What is a detailed procedure? So let me tell you one thing. Detailed procedure will start in these 60 days. Detailed procedure will start in these 60 days. So earlier procedure is same. Board of directors audit committee telling to the members sending the special notice to the company is conducting the board meeting and passing the board resolution, taking the prior approval of central government. Up to this there is no problem. This is the procedure you have to write simply. Now within these 60 days what will happen? Now detailed procedure. What is the next topic we are going to understand now? Detailed procedure. Sir, what is a detailed procedure in that? Now what is a detailed procedure? Understand. Now tell me one thing. How many days company is having to conduct an EGM? 60 days. Is company having to conduct what? EGM. Now during these 60 days, what the company is going to do? During these 60 days, point number 1, company will send copy of special notice. Company will send what? Copy of special notice to whom? To the outgoing auditor. To the which auditor? Outgoing auditor. Are you understanding the point or not? Sir, who is known as outgoing auditor? The auditor whom we are going to remove. Are you getting the point? So it is the courtesy on the company's part. It is the duty on the company's part to send what? Copy of special notice. So what is special notice? The same special notice which the members have sent to the company. The same special notice which the members have sent to the company, that special notice copy, we have to send it to whom? Outgoing auditor. Clear? Clear, sir. Okay, outgoing auditor received. Now, in India, there is a rule. In India, there is a small rule. What is the rule, sir? Whenever we are removing someone before the expiry of this term, say for example, if we are going in a court, in the court case is going on, even though I am the killer, I am the murderer, but still in our court of law, there is a rule that even if you are a murderer caught red-handed, you are going to be provided at least one opportunity of being heard to defend your part. Am I correct or not? देखो मर्डर भी दो तरह के होते हैं. एक होते हैं you are doing the murder out of anger. One is you are doing the murder for the self defense. So if we will not give the opportunity to the person who is a murderer, कि either he did the murder out of anger or due to the self defense, how the judge will be able to do the correct decision? Same is the case here. Now we are going to remove an auditor. We have to give an opportunity of being heard to the statutory auditor. That is called principle of natural justice. So what we have to give? We have to give the opportunity of being heard to the which? To the outgoing auditor as a principle of natural justice. Point number 2 is that company shall provide opportunity of being heard to the outgoing auditor. Everyone clear or not? The company shall provide opportunity of being heard to the which going auditor? Outgoing auditor. How? Question is how? Allow outgoing auditor to make representation letter. To make a which letter? Representation letter. To make a which letter, sir? Representation letter of reasonable length. To make a representation letter of a which length? Reasonable length. And this representation letter of reasonable length will be sent to whom? It will be sent to company. Send it to company. I hope everyone is clear. So company is giving the opportunity of being heard to the which auditor? Outgoing auditor. How? What kind of opportunity of being heard? We are going to allow him to make a letter called representation letter of a which length? Reasonable length. In which what will be written in this letter, sir? He is nothing but going to defend his what? Removal. Why he should not be removed? Are you getting the point or not? Why he should not be removed? Company is asking from him that send us one letter and tell us why you should not be removed. Show cause notice. Why we should not take this action against you. Who is going to send this? Outgoing auditor is going to send this to the company why he should not be removed. That is called defending letter. In other case, you can call it as a defending letter. Send it to whom? Send it to company. Right or not? Now, problem comes where? Ab sunna dhyan se. If this letter, listen to this carefully. Ab yahan pe turning point hai. If this letter reaches early to the company before sending notices of EGM. Now tell me correctly, do we have to send the notice before conducting a meeting to the members or not? Yes. So we were planning to send the notice to the shareholders for the EGM meeting, telling them the agenda for the removal of an auditor. Now this letter came to the company from the outgoing auditor. This letter came to the company before sending the notices of EGM. When this letter came to the company, when the company received this letter, defending letter, before sending the notices of the EGM, then what the company will do? Company shall attach this letter with the notices. Company shall attach this letter with the notices. Everyone clear or not? What the company is going to do? Company is going to attach this letter with the notices. I hope everyone is clear. Everyone is clear, right? So company will attach this letter with the notices. Clear, guys? Right? So company will attach this letter with the notices so that members, when they are coming to the EGM, they are already informed. They are already informed. They are already understood why this auditor should not be removed. What according to the defending letter, they must have already learned what he has written in that letter. That's why we are sending it. When we are sending the notice of an EGM, we are attaching this letter with that EGM notice and we are sending it to the members. What if this letter reaches early to the company? Now question is, what if this letter reaches late? If this letter reaches late to the company, अगर ये कंपनी को लेटर लेट मिला, if this letter reaches late to the company, late means sir already notices of EGM have been sent. Now what to do? Now what the company should do? Company shall invite the outgoing auditor. Company shall invite outgoing auditor. Where? Outgoing auditor to the meeting. Company shall invite the outgoing auditor to the meeting. Why? So that he or she can read it out to the shareholders. Now what will happen? We'll give him 10 to 15 minutes in the meeting and he will stand up in front of all the shareholders in the EGM and he will read out his letter, which we were unable to send it because his letter came to the company early or late. If it is coming early, we are attaching it with what? Notices of EGM and already sending to the members. But now this letter reaches to the company late. What we are going to do? We are going to invite him to the meeting, in that particular meeting, and we will give him a particular slot where he will be reading out this letter to the shareholders of the company. I hope everyone is clear, crystal clear. Okay, now there is one more problem. What is the problem, sir? Now look at this point number 3 now. Before inviting him, before inviting outgoing auditor, or before circulating it with notices of EGM. इसको ध्यान से सुनना, very important point. दिमाग खोल के सुनो बस. Before inviting the outgoing auditor for the meeting or before circulating it with the notices of an EGM, what the company has to do? One copy shall be sent to NCLT. One copy shall be sent to whom? NCLT. कौन है NCLT? National Company Law Tribunal. One copy shall be sent to the NCLT saying that this is the defending letter which this outgoing auditor has sent to the company. Now, if NCLT on its own का मतलब क्या होता है? Suo moto. If NCLT को suo moto, if NCLT on its own feels that, if NCLT on its own feels that, or received a complaint, or NCLT received a complaint from member or company. Now, member or the company is dissatisfied. Member or the company is dissatisfied. Member of the company is what? Dissatisfied with the letter he has sent. Who has sent? Outgoing auditor. So member or the company dissatisfied with the letter he has sent and the content, which is something which is written in that letter, they are dissatisfied. And NCLT also feels on its own. So either NCLT feels on its own or received a complaint from company or a member. What kind of complaint? That outgoing auditor, OA stands for what? outgoing auditor is trying to take point number 1, needless publicity, is trying to say take which publicity? Needless publicity. He is trying to take needless publicity or using defamatory words. Is using which kind of words? Defamatory words in the letter. Either he is trying to take the needless publicity or he is using which words? Defamatory words which are disrespecting the company. So again repeating, if the NCLT feels that, or the company or member also feels that, or NCLT received a complaint from this dissatisfied company or dissatisfied member that this particular outgoing auditor to whom we gave an opportunity of being heard to defend his removal, other than defending his removal, what this auditor is doing? He is trying to take either a needless publicity or he is doing what? He is trying to disrespect the company by using the defamatory words. Let me give you one example. हमने इसे opportunity किस बात के लिए दी थी? What kind of opportunity we gave him? To defend his removal. But instead of defending his removal, what this particular outgoing auditor is doing? This particular outgoing auditor is saying कि I know Prime Minister Narendra Modi, I know Governor of RBI, I know Income Tax Commissioner, I know Chief Justice of India. Is he trying to take the name? This is what we were asking from him, or we were asking from him the defend why you should not be removed. But he is trying to take needless publicity, which is not required. Needlessly, he is writing his professional attainments. He knows this fellow, he knows that fellow, and all those things. Or he is using the defamatory words against the company. He is trying to, defamate the company. He is trying to bring the disrespect to the company or trying to bring down the reputation and goodwill of the company. If the NCLT feels on its own, or the member or the company feels that via this letter this person is trying to take the needless publicity or defamatory words, then what will happen? If NCLT is satisfied, on above, NCLT also feels that yes, this person is trying to take this, misutilizing this opportunity. You can say that he is misutilizing the opportunity of being heard, then NCLT will pass order. NCLT will pass order or directions on the company. So what kind of order or directions will be passed on the company? Neither circulate, don't circulate this letter. This fellow is a very bad fellow. Neither circulate his representation letter. And what is the second thing? Nor invite him or her in the meeting. तो ना तो उसका लेटर सर्कुलेट करो ईजीएम के नोटिस के साथ, ना उसको इनवाइट करो. दोनों चीजों पे क्रॉस, खत्म, कहानी खत्म. तो ना तो हम लोग उसे सर्कुलेट करने देंगे उसका लेटर, और नाइदर वी आर गोइंग टू इनवाइट हिम टू द मीटिंग. आर यू गेटिंग द पॉइंट और नॉट? तो नाइदर सर्कुलेट नॉर इनवाइटिंग टू द मीटिंग. देन व्हाट विल हैपन? डायरेक्टली EGM will be conducted. Directly EGM will be conducted. Special resolution will be passed. And auditor stands removed. Auditor stands removed. I hope everyone is crystal clear now. Auditor निकाल दिया गया. Now, above process, whatever we have written, above process is equally applicable. Above process is equally applicable to both first auditors as well as what? Subsequent auditors. I hope everyone is clear. ठीक है, चलो छोटा सा रिवीजन करेंगे, जल्दी रिवीजन करेंगे ताकि अपने को समझ में आ जाए कि what actually is happening here. Now let us do the small revision. छोटी सी रिवीजन करते हैं. चलो शुरू से करते हैं. पहले तो अपन स्टार्ट करेंगे कि व्हाट आर द सेक्शन सीरीज वी आर डूइंग सेक्शन नंबर 140 सीरीज, राइट और नॉट? 140 सबसेक्शन 2 एंड सबसेक्शन 3 we already covered in what? Casual vacancy. Now we have covered what? Subsection 1 and subsection 4. Now what is 140 subsection 1 and subsection 4? It is known as removal of member, removal of auditor by whom? Members. Removal of auditor by whom? members. Everyone clear or not? Now who are the two people who can remove you? यहाँ तो तुम्हें member remove कर सकता है या तुम्हें NCLT remove कर सकती है. Now we have not done the NCLT removal. It is being removed by member only, but NCLT is also little bit involved in that. Now what is the process? Process number one, if the board of directors or audit committee feels that your particular auditor is not performing well as per the standards of the company, as per the performance of the company, what the company is expecting, then these people will intimate the same thing to whom? Members. These people will intimate the same thing to whom? Members. Sir, what the members will do? Members will send a special notice to the whom? They will send a special notice to the whom? Company. They will send a special notice to the company. Now tell me, sir, what is written in the notice? In the notice it is written remove the existing auditor, or what is written? Remove the existing auditor by replacing it with the another auditor. Next point, whether the members need to give the reasons for the removal, answer is no. It is completely not mandatory. It is optional on the members. Either they want to tell the reasons or they don't want to tell the reasons. Sir, crystal clear. Now what will happen once the company received a which notice? Once the company received a special notice, then what will happen? Within 30 days, company has to do two things. Within 30 days, company has to do two things. What is the thing number one? Conduct a board meeting, pass a which resolution? Board resolution, and immediately apply to the central government for the prior approval of what? Prior approval of removal of an auditor in form number ADD2. तो ADD2 apply करेंगे, central government से approval आ जाएगी, and once the approval will come, within how many days, sir? Within 60 days. Within how many days? 60 days. We have to conduct what? We have to conduct an EGM. In the EGM, which resolution? Sir, special resolution. And auditor stands what? Removed. Auditor stands for removed. ये तो हो गया overall process of removal. But what is the detailed process? Now let me tell you one thing. This detailed process is known as section number 140 subsection 4. That just now we have completed the detailed process, that is known as section 130 subsection 4. Everyone clear? Yes sir, clear. Now what is the detailed process? In those 60 days of EGM, do we have a gap of 60 days or not? In those 60 days of gap, what we are going to do? In those 60 days of gap, what we are going to do is company has to send what? Special notice copy to whom? Which auditor? To the outgoing auditor. Are you getting the point? Company has to send a copy of special notice to the which auditor? Outgoing auditor. And company has to provide opportunity of being heard to the which auditor? Outgoing auditor. So what do you mean by opportunity of being heard? We will allow him to make a representation letter of a which length? Of a reasonable length. Are you getting the point? And that letter will be sent to whom? That letter will be sent to the company. Are you getting the point? Now what is written in that letter? He is just allowed to defend his removal. Why he should not be removed? As simple as that. Now next point, if this letter reaches early to the company, अगर ये company को जल्दी मिल जाती है, तो what the company will do? If the notices of the EGM have not been sent so far, so we are going to attach this letter with the notices. It means we are going to circulate it with the notices of EGM. We are going to circulate it with the notices of EGM. Everyone crystal clear? Next thing, what if this letter reaches late? If this letter reaches late to the company, we will invite that particular auditor to read out this letter in front of the shareholders. Everyone clear or not? Crystal clear? Next point. Sir, before appointing outgoing auditor or before circulating the notices of EGM, we have to send one copy to whom? Our Dharamdata called NCLT. Now, if the NCLT feels on its own or received a complaint from the company or a member, what is the complaint? That this person to whom we gave an opportunity is using the opportunity or misutilizing the opportunity by trying to take what? Which publicity? Needless publicity, or he is using the defamatory words. Either he is taking the needless publicity or he is using the defamatory words. Then if the NCLT is also satisfied on the basis of the complaint or on its own feeling, yes, this person is trying to take the needless publicity or trying to use a defamatory word, then NCLT will pass an order on the company. What is the order? Neither circulate his representation letter nor invite him to the meeting. ना तो इसका लेटर को सर्कुलेट करो, ना इसे मीटिंग में इनवाइट करो. डायरेक्टली EGM कंडक्ट होगी, स्पेशल रेजोल्यूशन विल बी पास एंड ऑडिटर स्टैंड्स फॉर removed. Now this particular process of removal is equally applicable to the first auditor as well as what? Subsequent auditor. So with that, our section number 140 subsection 1 and section number 140 subsection 4 both are over. सबको समझ में आया सर? Both are what? Over. Once this company audit topic will be over, we will do the MCQs on company audit. Case study based MCQs also. Are you getting the point or not? So what are the things you are going to get when you will buy the classes? You will get the printed notes. You will definitely get this PDF handwritten notes, whether you are writing or not, but I am definitely going to provide it because I feel that writing the subject with your own handwriting gives you the 200% level of confidence. And this is approximately the 15th or 16th batch for me for the CA final auditing, and believe me, every time I write freshly. You can see that I'm writing each and everything. The thing is not that I'm trying to overdo something. It is just that it gives a personal satisfaction when you write it down. So I'm a true believer of writing the law and subjects, any kind of theory subject, let it be practical subjects or theory subject. Or auditing से ज़्यादा practical subject कोई है ही नहीं sir. There is no subject more practical than what? Auditing. You can see that everything is sorted, everything is crystal clear in the auditing. ठीक है ना? तो when you write the particular subject with your own handwriting, you get a confidence. So I'm going to provide you my printed material, right or not? If the courier services will be allowed, we will be sending you the hard copies. Otherwise, we will be definitely sending you the all PDF links of all the files. Along with that, we are going to give you this handwritten notes. Along with that, you will get one MCQ book. Along with that, you will get one question bank also. Are you getting the point? Now each and every, once one big chapters will be over. अभी देखो company audit में I'm not only going to cover company audit now. We started with the company audit. Company audit जाएगा auditor के बारे में, everything about the auditor, सारा section based. The whole section based things we have to complete first. Company audit will complete. We'll complete dividend chapter. We'll complete Caro chapter also, 143 subsection 11, right? Then along with that, we'll complete liabilities of an auditor. We'll complete internal audit section number 138 also. So everything section bound thing will be completed here itself once we have started. After the company audit, we'll start with a very interesting topic that is called professional ethics, going to come in your examination for 16 marks. So company audit is going to cover 20 marks and professional ethics is going to cover 16 to 20 marks. So approximately 30-35 marks will be certain. And I'm telling you that always one should start preparing from the company audit because it gives you the confidence. Because you have already done this particular topic in your intermediate and IPCC level. It gives you the confidence to reach or to get settled down in this particular audit called auditing, advanced auditing and professional ethics. Am I correct or not? Second thing, what is the second advantage? By the time company audit and professional ethics will be over, you will be certain that yes, bhaiya, out of 40, these 40 marks or 35 to 40 marks, I am certain to get 25 to 30 marks. I'm telling you, it's not impossible. It is very much possible to get 30-32 marks in this particular these two subjects. I'm telling you. Okay, na? So have some faith on us, have some trust on confidence on us. We will take you to the another level of getting the exemption in this particular subject called auditing, which people fear. आप अपने सीनियर से पूछ के देखते हो, people say that no, auditing is a very huge subject, vast subject. कुछ भी vast, अरे घंटा कुछ भी vast subject नहीं है. Are you getting the point or not? Auditing is very, it's a very practical subject. You make it vast because you treat it as a theory subject. But when you start understanding it as a practical subject, it's a very compressed subject, very small subject. Are you getting the point? So let us help you out in this particular way. Are we done with the section number 140, subsection 1, subsection 40, subsection 4? Yes. Now we are going to understand 140, subsection 5. Now tell me guys, what is section number 140 subsection 5? Section number 140 subsection 5 talks about what? It talks about what? It talks about removal of an auditor. Removal of an auditor by whom? Removal of an auditor by tribunal. Now the second person who can remove you other than the member is what? tribunal. So now we are going to understand that particular part. So section number 140 subsection 5 is known as removal of auditor by tribunal. And when I'm using the word for tribunal means what? NCLT, नेशनल कंपनी लॉ ट्रिब्यूनल. बहुत छोटा सा सेक्शन है, इजी सेक्शन है और बहुत ही सिंपल सा सेक्शन है. एवरीवन जस्ट ट्राई टू कॉन्सेंट्रेट. दिस इज वेरी सिंपल सेक्शन एंड वेरी इजी सेक्शन. एवरीवन रेडी? ओके, नाउ लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड हाउ द ट्रिब्यूनल कैन रिमूव यू. अब सुनना ध्यान से. कंफ्यूजिंग पॉइंट, आई विल पिक वन पॉइंट वेयर यू विल बी कंफ्यूज्ड कि either to follow section number 141 subsection 4 or either to follow section 140 subsection 5. Now see, what is this section saying? This section is saying very simple thing. If NCLT is satisfied on its own, if NCLT is satisfied on its own, अब जल्दी जल्दी बताओ on its own का मतलब क्या है? What do you mean by on its own? On its own means what? Suo moto. On its own means what? Suo moto, right? If the NCLT on its own or received a complaint, if the NCLT on its own, this is a point number 1 going, if the NCLT is satisfied on its own or received a complaint. Sir, complaint from whom? Received a complaint from SEBI. Either SEBI has complained to the NCLT or central government has complained or ROC has complained or income tax department has complained or you can say any other statutory authority has complained. Are you understanding the point? So if the NCLT on its own believes that or received a complaint from what? SEBI, central government, ROC, income tax department or any other statutory authority or any concerned person or what? Any concerned person. Sir, remember one thing, this word called any concerned person was added later on. Earlier provision was only about SEBI, CG, ROC, income tax department and what? The any other statutory authority. This any other concerned person was entered in the particular provision later on. So if the NCLT on its own believes that or receives a complaint from SEBI, central government, ROC, income tax department or any other statutory authority or any other concerned person. So what is the nature of the complaint? Point number 2. Believes that what is the complaint? They all believe that, I'm writing in inverted commas, now listen carefully, auditor of the company. Now tell me one thing, I'm talking about which auditor? Obviously when I'm talking about is what? Statutory auditor. Auditor of a company is directly or indirectly, auditor of the company is directly or indirectly involved in what? Fraudulent or fraud or material misstatement. Now what they are saying, it's a huge allegation on company auditor. Remember one thing, the main distinction between 140 subsection 1 subsection 4 and 140 subsection 5 is this only, where members removal will come, where NCLT removal will come. Members removal mein auditor is not involved in any kind of fraud, but in this removal auditor is involved in what? Fraud. So auditor is directly or indirectly involved in what? He is directly or indirectly involved in what? Fraud or fraudulent activity or material misstatements happening on the company. Either it is happening on the company, it means who is the victim here? Fraud is happening on the company. Who is the victim here? Company. Or it is being done by the company. Are you getting the point? देखो, या तो फ्रॉड कंपनी के ऊपर हो रहा है या कंपनी फ्रॉड कर रही है. इन दोनों सिनेरियोज में हु इज हेल्पिंग द कंपनी? And who is helping those people who are doing the fraud on the company? Auditor, either directly or indirectly. I hope everyone is crystal clear. अब सुना ध्यान से. If NCLT believes on its own, और NCLT ने किससे कंप्लेंट ली? सेबी ने कंप्लेंट दे दी, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने कंप्लेंट दे दी, आरओसी ने कंप्लेंट दे दी, या इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट ने कंप्लेंट दे दी, या जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट ने कंप्लेंट दे दी. सर क्या कंप्लेंट दी? सर कंप्लेंट बहुत सिंपल है कि भैया कि तुम्हारा जो ऑडिटर है, we think that the auditor of this company is directly or indirectly involved in what? Involved in fraud or fraudulent activity or material misstatement. Either it is happening on the company or by the company. In both the cases, auditor is involved. In both the cases, auditor is involved. Are you getting the point or not? So this is what do you mean by this is what you mean by this particular section. So main point क्या है? Here auditor is involved in what? Fraud. Yes. Next point. Point number 3. ये तो गया main reason of complaint. This is the main complaint which I have written, and this is the people who are making the complaint, and this is what NCLT feel on its own. Then within 15 days of investigation, within 15 days of investigation by NCLT, within 15 days of investigation by NCLT, an order shall be passed. Now let me tell you the major difference between earlier removal what we have done and this removal what we are doing. Their opportunity of being heard was provided to the which auditor? Outgoing auditor. But here no opportunity of being heard, no principle of justice. Directly pack your bags and go. Pack your bags and leave. Are you getting the point or not? You are not required in the office right now because you are involved in a fraud. No opportunity. Caught red-handed. We have the proof. People are making the complaint. You are directly, indirectly involved in the fraud. No opportunity. Pack your bags. Within 15 days, order will be passed. By whom? Obviously, by NCLT. By NCLT. Now, what is the order? Now, let me tell you the order. The order is divided into two parts. Order is divided into two parts. Order number 1. Disqualified from being an auditor. Remember one thing, always try to interpret the main wordings, what the lawmaker is trying to tell you. Disqualified. Now that particular auditor is disqualified or auditor's firm is disqualified from being an auditor in any company. In which company? Any company for up to 5 years. Up to how many years? 5 years. 5 साल का बैन लग सकता है आपके ऊपर. You may be disqualified from being an auditor not in that company, any company. Complete ban, complete suspension up to how many years? 5 years. That is what the power of NCLT. And with giving the opportunity of being heard or without giving the opportunity of being heard. Everyone clear or not? Right or not? So you will be disqualified from being an auditor in any company for up to how many years? 5 years. Plus, you all know under the CA final law, when we'll read it, you will understand that section number 447 is a fraud section. It means anyone who does the fraud in the Companies Act will be liable to a penalty under section 447. So what is 447? Section 447 penalty also. It means, tell me guys, is the auditor is going to be left? Is the auditor is going to be relieved just by being disqualified? No. Bhaiya, penalty kawali. Penalty also will be imposed. Are you getting the point? Under section 447. I hope you all know section number 447 हमें law में है, but still I'll give you the gist of this section 447. 447 क्या बोलता है? Now, what is 447 saying? 447 क्या बोलता है? Just a small gist. 447 says that if the fraud amount is less than, and if the fraud amount is at least, कंपनी में जितना फ्रॉड हुआ है, the total amount of the fraud is less than on one side and is at least on the another side. If the fraud amount happened in the company, the fraud happened in the company is less than what? 1% of turnover of the company. What? 1% of the turnover of the company, or 10 lakh rupees, or rupees 10 lakhs, whichever is lower. अगर fraud का amount 1% of the turnover or rupees 1 lakh, इन दोनों के comparison में whichever is lower, if the fraud amount is less than that lowered figure also, remember one thing, fraud amount 20 lakhs, fraud amount 20 lakhs, turnover 1 crore. What is the 1% of the 1 crore? 1 lakh. 1 lakh or 10 lakhs, whichever is lower, whichever is lower, 1 lakh. Am I correct or not? Now fraud amount is 20 lakhs. Lowered figure of the comparison between the two is 1 lakh. Now fraud amount is more than that or less than that? More than that. Then right side penalty. Are you getting the point? Then which side penalty? Right side penalty. But if the fraud amount is less than 1% of the turnover or rupees 10 lakhs, whichever is lower, then what is the penalty, guys? Fine up to rupees 50 lakhs. What is the fine? Fine up to rupees 50 lakhs, or imprisonment up to 5 years. Imprisonment up to 5 years, or both. Everyone clear or not? So what is 447 saying? Ki 1% of the turnover or 10 lakhs, whichever is lower, that figure will be compared with the fraud amount. If the fraud amount and that figure, fraud amount is bigger than this figure of whatever is lowered figure, then right side penalty. But if the fraud amount is less than this figure, is less than this figure, then this penalty. What is the penalty? Fine up to 50 lakhs or imprisonment up to 5 years, or both. Now, if the fraud amount is at least means what? Greater than equals to what? 1% of turnover or rupees 10 lakhs, whichever is lower. If the fraud amount is greater than or equals to, at least likha hua hai, greater than or equals to 1% of the turnover or 10 lakhs, whichever is lower, then what will happen? Then minimum fine equals to fraud amount. Whatever is the fraud amount involved, that is your minimum fine to the auditor. Maximum fine 3 times the fraud amount. 3 times the which amount? Fraud amount. And it is not and or here, it is and. It means it is a non-compoundable offense. तुम्हें फाइन भी देना पड़ेगा, तुम्हें जेल भी जाना पड़ेगा. कितना जेल जाने पड़ेगा? Imprisonment of minimum 6 months and maximum 10 years. And if the public interest is involved in that company, which interest is involved? Public interest is involved in that company, then 6 months will become what? 3 years. So minimum 3 years, maximum 10 years if public interest is involved, and minimum 6 months, maximum 10 years if the non-public interest is involved. So this is what section number 447. So समझ में आया sir? So that brings an end to the removal of an auditor before the expiry of the term by the NCLT. Quick revision करेंगे सर 2 सेकंड में. उसके बाद let's wind up for, we'll take a break for some few minutes. Okay. Now what is a quick revision? Now we are talking about section number jaldi 140 subsection 5, which talks about what? Removal of an auditor by whom? Tribunal. What do you mean by tribunal? National Company Law Tribunal. Now see, if the NCLT on its own, if the NCLT on its own believes that, or NCLT received a complaint from SEBI, from central government, from ROC, from the income tax department, from any other statutory authority, or any other concerned person which is later on added, what is the complaint? The complaint is, sir, we feel that the auditor of this company is directly or indirectly involved in what? Involved in fraudulent fraud or material misstatements happening either on the company or by the company. Either happening on the company or by the company. And if the NCLT is satisfied that yes, auditor is involved in that kind of fraud, within 15 days, within how many days? Within 15 days, the order will be passed. What will be passed? Order will be passed. Order is having 2 punishment. Punishment number 1, this particular auditor will be disqualified from being an auditor in any company up to 5 years. 5 साल तक का बैन लग सकता है. 5 साल एग्जैक्टली नहीं, 5 साल तक का बैन लग सकता है एंड यू विल बी पेनलाइज्ड अंडर सेक्शन 447 एंड व्हाट इज 447 एनीवेज दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ योर सीए फाइनल लॉ बट आई एम टेलिंग यू हियर व्हाट इज 447 447 क्या बोलता है इफ द फ्रॉड अमाउंट इन्वॉल्व्ड इफ ये फ्रॉड अमाउंट है imagine that this is fraud amount if the fraud amount involved is less than fraud amount involved is less than 1% of the turnover or what 10 lakh rupees whatever whichever is lower this figure is whichever is lower figure and the fraud amount is less than that then what is the penalty fine up to rupees 50 lakhs or imprisonment up to 5 years or both now if ये अपना fraud amount था if the fraud amount is at least equals to or more than 1% of the turnover or 10 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees whichever is lower then what is the punishment minimum punishment or minimum fine is up to fraud amount then maximum 3 times the fraud amount and is and or here and you will be sent to the jail imprisonment of minimum 6 months which can be 3 years minimum if the public interest is involved but maximum imprisonment up to 10 years. I hope everyone is satisfied with the topic what we have done. We are done with the section number 140 completely. ठीक है तो 140 में 140 subsection 1 and subsection 4 talks about removal by whom members and 140 में 140 subsection 5 6 and 7 talks about whom removal of auditor by tribunal. I hope everyone is crystal clear. So let's take a break for some few minutes. So I'll see you guys in the next few minutes in the another session relating to the company audit. So that's it from my side for now and thanks for lending your patient ears again. I'll borrow it again in the next session. So thank you so much. Be safe, stay at home and thank you so much for listening to the class again. Thank you.